First of all, thank you for the lovely presentation and to be here delivered to do this talk for you, lovely people here. So what we're gonna briefly discuss today is the complexity in the supply chain from the production of the goods until the final mile delivery and all the steps is in between. It seems simple on the outside, but a lot of steps happen and a lot of documentation, a lot of freight is happening in between. And from our perspective, we are trying to pull that down with the IT platform which we utilizes, and also the shipment as a whole. So to tell a little bit more about who Homerunner is, we are a Danish IT company who also does freight, so we are a bit of a hybrid. We offer a TMS system which connects to all the preferred carriers worldwide, and we also do the integrations towards all the platforms, Shopify, WooCommerce, Shopware, etc. ERP system, VMSs, etc. We are 10 years old, and the way we started in Homerunner was that we saw a gap in the market for private persons shipping parcels to each other. Usually, back in the day, you go to a PUDO or postal office, and you paid there, delivered the parcel, and paid overprice, and then it was delivered to the recipient. We then turned that upside down and say, okay, we're gonna write a 8 to 9 digit code on that parcel, so you don't need to print your label, because who nowadays has any printers? This we then facilitated into our platform where we did some consolidation, we built up margins, volumes, and then a lot of requests came from the market in terms of, are you able to also support us going to Germany? Because we had some volumes to do some procurement. That grew bigger and bigger, and we're now 10 years old in August. We've been earning money since day one. No venture capital. It's still the same 2 owners and still the same board who's been since start. And we've been growing steadily year by year. And still to this day, we are 55 people in the organization with a key in IT. Approximately in regards to 55 of the people we are currently employed, 20 people are in our IT department, so this is really where we have our focus because we are the extended arm of our clients. That leads us to me. My name is Matthias, head of business solution here in Homerunner. Been here 4 years from when Homerunner was a startup business, might say so. We had a lot of clients, but we didn't have any processes, we didn't have any SOPs, not a lot of structure, to be fairly honest. But we built this up, and now we're one of the leading providers in the Danish Scandinavian markets in terms of providing an IT platform, a TMS, but also doing the procurement of our clients, both domestically within Denmark and Scandinavia, but also cross-border wise. Because what we do in Homerunner is that we see a parcel as a parcel. All the data is standardized, whether it needs to go to UK, it needs to go to Norway, it needs to go to US, China, whatever. All the mandatory fields which needs to be applied is the same. To give a little more insights and the value chain and the support that we are giving to our clients, I have a short, brief video which I will show you now in 2 seconds.
When Emily shops online for her upcoming baby, she sets something bigger in motion. A journey where timing, security, and anticipation go hand in hand. It all started with Emily's click on Buy. And when your warehouse receives the order, the shipment is already booked, and the shipping label is prepared for dispatch with the chosen carrier. Through our network of local carriers, the package moves forward on its journey, and you can confidently sell your products worldwide because we deliver them quickly, safely, and always at competitive prices. And while the package is on its way, you maintain an ongoing overview. Our live tracking and notifications provide reassurance every step of the way, even if something deviates from the package's optimal journey. The joy in Emily's eyes when the package arrived on time is what we work for. If the customer wants to return a package, returns and cases are handled easily on our platform, no matter which carrier you use. Everything is gathered in one place, and if something goes wrong, we quickly help find a solution, with both people and technology on your side. We turn complex logistics into a simple and secure experience. Homerunner, by your side every step of the way.
So, that was a very brief introduction in terms of what we do, but it made it very clear that it's all the way from when a potential client of yours is in the basket, putting in the items. We at Homerunner, with our integration into the platforms via our API, already knows what products is in the basket, what is the tariff numbers, what is the description, the price, the SKU, the weight, if that's applicable. So we take the order as a mother and then have the data below. That makes it very seamless to share or to ship orders all over the world, because as mentioned, it's standard. That's really where we try to amplify the experience for our clients and our partners, is that we want to make it as simple as possible. Also for you, you probably know it. If you go out and have, let's say, 5 markets and you offer 10 different shipping providers, it's 10 different sorting methods you have to do. You have to maintain 10 different integrations. You need to have 10 different tracking events. You need to granulate down 10 different ways of handling claims. What we do is that we unify this experience by having a same IT foundation in what we call CPS, Carrier Product Service, so we can actually take in all the different providers that is applicable in the worldwide shipping scene, because it's the same data they use. The same thing goes for the claim handling, where we standardize all the different providers' customer service tasks by utilizing AI and Power Automate. Because if you ever had an issue with a parcel, which I think most of us has, it's the same 12 questions which is asked every time. Where is my parcel? It's delivered, but I haven't received it. Something is broken, whatever it might be. So it's standardized questions. So we actually took that down and then made a logical tree towards all of the shipping providers. So it's handled easier. So instead of the customer service department needs to go to one online format, another one needs to call, a third one you need to send a mail. Here we've standardized everything in one portal, which is agnostic to the shipping provider. That makes it a lot easier for our clients and our partners to scale their operations, to go into new markets with a completely standardized and unified platform, and also add new providers. We can have a new client up and running for a new market if, of course, their domain and site is ready, in a few clicks, because everything is pre-integrated. All of the carriers, we have pre-negotiated rates, and we can just apply them on their account and they're good to go. And that's why that logistic is not something you hide in the warehouse anymore. It needs to be brought to the front of every business, because marketing, they can do A/B split tests with ease without involving the IT department in terms of doing checkout, and you need to code it with different subtotals in the basket and free shipping thresholds, etc. Everything here is a no-code manual in Homerunner, where we give the opportunity to the marketing department, the sales department, whatever it might be, to actually do it themselves, do test, do split test, and then evaluate on what they got. That's the same thing for we're bringing 45 different providers to our clients, so they don't need to go and negotiate all of these, maintain agreements, maintain IT integrations, etc. Everything is pre-established via our platform. Thereby it's also in the purchasing, and that's one of the things I will come to later on, but especially in the outbound logistics, whether it's B2B, B2C, domestic, cross-border. It's a jungle to find all the local heroes, to find who is good at what, compensation levels, time frames of delivery, SLAs, etc. And to be completely honest, in Homerunner, we don't care if the truck or delivery truck is red, white, blue, yellow. The most important thing for us is that our clients, they have the sufficient products at the right time to deliver the promise to their clients. Just as we saw in the video, you have the expectation, you have the trust of delivering the parcel. You are excited to have it delivered. So if something goes wrong in that small window of time of the delivery, you have a bad experience, you have a bad trust pilot, you have bad reviews. So we need to ensure that the information is ready and available for both the customer and as well our clients at the time they need it. That's also why we are focusing so much on the IT, because as mentioned previously, when I joined the company 4 years ago plus, they still had a very good core engine of the platform. However, it wasn't very user-friendly. It didn't look that nice. But the system nowadays, it's user-friendly, it's very flexible, agile. And what we've done since many years now is that we have an outside-in approach. Maybe it would seem stupid for a lot of you guys, but what we actually do in Homerunner is our cost model is per label. We don't charge for any consultancy fees, any start fees, monthly, quarterly, yearly payments, nothing like that. And if anybody here has a request to do development, we take it in, because we only grow and will be pushed by the market. We can sit internally and say, oh, this would be a great idea to develop, etc. But it's really you guys with the operations on a daily basis who knows what is requested. Thereby, we develop and we put it out to the rest of our clients to utilize free of charge. So, depending on how, what, and why, whether you're sending B2C, B2B, domestic, cross-border, you still need to have some integrations to have a manual and automated process. Thereby, if it's B2C, we need to have the integration into the checkout of the web shop to facilitate the order, to choose the right products at the right time. So it's also address validated, so you don't send a parcel to Donald Duck. We need to have that information. Furthermore, we also need to connect to the VMS system, because we can connect to the parcel. We know, are these goods in stock? Is it ready to be picked, packed, delivered, sorted, and go out the door? We are also able to connect to different ERP systems due to our open API solution, where you can connect all of the POs, which is connected to pallets, to B2B parcels going out, because all of the consolidation on the consolidated invoice, the customer information, is also connected to the parcel. So we don't look at it as a consignment, we look at it as a shipment. And thereby we are able to scale it a lot quicker and also have all the required information at the right times to do the custom clearance, whether it's for UK or Norway, Switzerland, or worldwide. It's the same data set that we utilize. Logistics is a very, very old industry. We're not here to turn everything around, but we want to amplify the experience. We want to make it a lot more seamless and a lot easier to scale and operate. I had plenty of meetings during these 2 days at Deliver, where I had a lot of good conversations with potential clients and people like you, where they were talking, oh, it's too complex to control and to manage and to set up and to actually develop themselves. Because our focus is that you do what you do best. So if you're a web shop buying and selling articles online, then focus on your main task and utilize the different partners that you have. Talk to them, be consulted, know what's best in the market, what's trending, because that's really what partners as us, but also other people in the market are here for. Do what you do best and then utilize the efficiency, but also the knowledge in the market. This is also where we want to push it a bit by disrupting methods. As I talked about previously, we connect our claim handling tool agnostically on all providers via our AI, and also Power Automate to push it through to have standardized processes. Where's my parcel? It's delivered, but I haven't received it, etc. handled. Our AI internal chatbot is called Sophie. It handles 72% of all claims which comes into us, meaning we have hot hands, we have personal guidance on 28% of all the cases. But it doesn't make value for our customer service team to go in and look up a parcel, look up a tracking number to give some very, very simple feedback. We connect to all the data, and via what's called MCP, Model Context Protocol, we build different hierarchies where and utilize the data we have, because we have all the data in the journey of the parcel. We go and look at, is it printed, is it sorted, is it picked up, is it on delivery, wherever in the journey it might be. And then we build different standardized frameworks all across the different providers that we utilize. So it's very easy for us to give some valuable knowledge to our clients to actually take away some of the work which doesn't make any value for them. If it's a children clothing company, as I showed previously, they need to be consulting their clients on what material is it, what size does my baby need, is this ABC. You need to be consulting your clients on a more value-based level, because this job, if you're looking up a parcel to where it is, you're really not able to scale your business in the way that you want, because it's just, dummy work that you're doing here. So that's why we're applying AI in all we can. I know it's a hot topic and everybody's talking about AI, but it's also about facilitating on the low-hanging fruits. So for example, tracking. If we know that a parcel from Germany needs to go to Netherlands, we know the journey of the parcel. We know that it's picked up at 4 o'clock, then it's delivered into a terminal at 10 o'clock at night, and then it goes into sorting, and then it goes out into internal handling the day after. If we are able to put MCP and AI to manage and overview all of these tracking events all the time, we can give you, as the client, proactive communication and notification that there is an unhappy flow here. If the parcel doesn't have the terminal scan at 2 o'clock at night, you're able to communicate to your end customer saying, sorry, dear customer, something happened. There will be one extra additional day of delivery. Sorry for this. So instead of it having to be reactive and the clients are getting mad, why didn't I receive my parcel? You get bad reviews. It's a shitty case. Then you can actually be upfront because you can make the data work for you. We have a lot of our clients that are utilizing their own Power BI tools, because all of the data beneath the parcel journey, they're able to put in their Power BI to monitor SLAs, delivery times. Does the client, the provider, live up to the expectations of the delivery goals? Because otherwise this is very difficult to monitor. And if you, as the partners and the clients yourself, give the power to the provider themselves and the shipping carrier, like, what's the truth? Here you can actually look at the truth from all of the parcels leaving your warehouse and being delivered to your end customer. Everything in regards to giving the trust to a shipping carrier, whether it's Homerunner, we don't ship the parcels ourselves, we utilize our great partners below. But if it's PostNord, if it's DHL, Hermes, Royal Mail, whatever it might be, it's about giving trust to the partner and the provider in that they can facilitate the task that you're asking them to do. You've done a wonderful job in buying products in the production, have it produced yourself, have it shipped to your warehouse, you have put it in the warehouse, you actually done some great marketing in getting some end customers on your website. you have some great products they put in the basket. You actually convince them to buy it. They went through the checkout, and now you just cross your fingers and hope for the best that the parcel is delivered. So we can actually give a bit more control in regards to, are you delivering as you desire and as you promised to the clients? So that's really why we want to be on our customer side, to give them the control to take action instead of being reactive, because otherwise it's as mentioned, an unscalable business to look into. And that's really where, whether it's our agreements or your own, you can utilize this. That's also one of the things worth mentioning in regards to Homerunner, is that we are, as mentioned, a TMS, and we also have our shipping providers where we procure 60 million parcels a year, which we offer strong agreements to our clients with if they want to go into a new market or have a new provider, etc. But what you can actually also do is that you can facilitate all of your own agreements with your credentials in our platform. Meaning, instead of you having to build everything yourself, you have to take on IT tasks, and as we know, IT can take some time in project management, etc. We're able to do a plug-and-play solution if our API is connected into the shop, the VMS, or wherever it's desired. We can build rocket ships with the APIs, but we can also having a low barrier entry, so we can get started very easily. So the result is that doesn't matter if a parcel, as mentioned, is going to US, small parcel, it's a letter, it's a pallet, it's the same data. What we really try to amplify here is standardized data. We want to have everything aligned, because it's unnecessary work for a warehouse employee to go and do, for example, all of these waybills. You need to do spreadsheets with all of the custom data, etc. If the data is available somewhere, we need to pull it out and to automate it and align processes equally. This can also happen across multiple warehouses, where you're actually able to have the same standardized process. If you have a warehouse, let's say Germany, Sweden, and Netherlands, it's the same process. You can make internal SOP, standardized procedures. So it's very scale, understand, and also educate your employees. In regards to our approach to standardizing and aligning the supply chain, as mentioned, from production to delivery from final mile carrier, what we do is that, there it is. We are working on building a line flow, which is one-to-one, whether it's air freight from production, whether it's containers, needs to go from the production in Asia or in US or in Turkey, etc., to a destination. We are aiming to build a one-to-one flow where the only thing which carries the whole journey is the order. Everything there is connected and the same. You have mandatory data, you need some products, you need to have some recipients, you need a sender, and there's some connected data below that in regards to Incoterms and a lot of different other perspectives. So what is next in terms of Homerunner is that we are trying to build a cradle-to-grave supply chain on IT TMS, where we want to make it simple for everybody to actually align and use. Especially in the container trade, it's difficult to manage because it's also very legacy born. You need to have some mail shared back and forward with spreadsheets, need to do all this manually. As we do on our portal for the shipments in regards to B2C and B2B, we are building a container platform now where we will have an agnostic approach to actually have the same flow, because it's the same things that a container goes through just as a parcel goes through. So we want to align that in the booking process. Instead of sharing all of these mails, having a spreadsheet go back and forward, we want to have a platform where the consignee and the shipper, they can enter into, feed in their PO, and then they can follow everything. It's the same tracking events. it's the same PO which is underlying. Maybe it's different sizes, and a container is definitely in size matters bigger than a parcel, but it's the same journey it goes through. So our focus on the next few years is to broaden the perspective of a shipping journey and a supply chain journey. So it goes from container to B2B shipments, and finally to B2C shipments to end consumers. But we want to align this process so it's simplified, easy to scale, easy to understand, and you can limit your internal resources in terms of management hours, work which doesn't make any value internally, and actually giving people the empowerment to do what makes them happy and gives them value. Lastly, we, as mentioned from start, it's a Danish brand and a Danish company. We are gradually expanding our operations. However, things are difficult, as you know. That's why we're utilizing a lot more AI, because we want to scale our business, not one-to-one. So if we rise our revenue 10%, we actually don't want to rise our employees 10%. So also in terms of our ERP systems, our design, our communication, our marketing, we really try to align a common AI foundation where everybody is aligned. Prompting will be the new tomorrow, where everybody needs to do it. It's not because it makes sense, because it makes life a lot easier. And that's also what I talked about with these MCP models, where we want to have these protocols applied into our ERP. Yeah, that's good for us, because then we can take an invoice from a supplier and check, okay, does this match what is actually booked? Is there an alignment? But what is really good is that we can actually do some dual control in terms of invoicing for our clients, because we have the weight, we know the address, we know is there an additional fee, we know the fuel fee, etc. So this is a thing where we actually have talked to a lot of our clients saying, we need the control in terms of checking invoices, especially once you're offering 26 different providers in 12 countries. It's very difficult to actually understand. So we will actually apply this protocol across all of our invoicing in the newly applied ERP system that we're launching in the 30th of June. And we actually want to take in the clients and get their feedback in terms of how can you see that we can check the invoices that we send or the providers themselves to you, because the data is there and it's common for everybody. Just some information in regards to me, if you want to connect, and then it's there. And then I would actually open up and say, if you have any questions in regards to my company, our vision, or what I've just presented, then please fire away.
Thank you, Matthias, for sharing the Homerunner story, but also, of course, the opportunities that are ahead. You can raise your hand and we will gently throw this wonderful mic to you, and you may pose your question in person or use the QR code, which is right up on screen, to ask a question more anonymously. Maybe to get all things started with the customer.
Yeah.
It is something that has been, at least for me, coming more and more to like the center of logistics. Well, how do we build things around the customer? And of course, this is one of the like DNA building blocks of Homerunners.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have a customer-centric model. So how has that developed from, let's say, 10 years ago, 4 years ago, to where is it going to develop to in 20 years?
Good question, though. The demand in the market has grown a lot. 10 years ago, you had the providers which were available, and shipping was a necessary evil to get the desired product to the client. In modern days, in my perspective, there's a broad variety of different providers, and they are able to offer different services, different products, which is desired by the client. Also, it was discussed yesterday morning in terms of the environmental impact. This is also something which is in really strong focus for the end consumers. So just as Spring, they won the Sustainability Award yesterday. They are actually focusing a lot on that. And we see a demand in the market for people wanting to engage directly in fossil-free deliveries. That could be an option. It could also be that you want a morning delivery. Maybe you want a night delivery. Maybe you want a Pluto. Maybe you want a parcel shop. So from my perspective, what we are offering, and as well other TMSs as well and providers, is the multi-carrier service. You are aligning the expectation with the end consumer to convert, let's say, a sale to them and give them a really good experience. Because if you just come with one provider, it's like, do I want to convert? Is this the solution and the service that I'm looking for? So offering a broader variety, and that's really where we can take the complexity up, but take it down with IT, from my perspective.
From your perspective. And we have a question from the audience, and it is, when you try to simplify the process, don't you remove the possibilities to optimize? Maybe containers and parcels have other different characteristics.
You're absolutely right. In terms of the optimization, we're always open for that, and we don't close the door to either do internal optimizations, or, as I'm in sales, I used to have very nice hair prior to starting this job. We're getting pushed all the time because the demand in the market and the fierce competition. We need to stay on top of our toes all the time to get the best possible rates, the best possible service, and the best possible solutions for our clients. Otherwise, we're out. So in terms of the optimization, it's an ongoing dialogue with the consultants, with our clients, and also our providers. But in terms of the container versus parcel, absolutely right. There's major differences, and that's why we haven't launched this solution yet. We are still in, let's say, the drawing phase of the data alignment all the way in the key, and we already done a deal with a container shipping partner where they are also able to take this in to do everything via API instead of doing everything manually, because that's also a huge optimization in their internal perspectives as well.
And when we talk about optimization, it also touches on this whole question, and you mentioned it, that it used to be that logistics is a cost that you need to incur to, get to the end. And now retailers, but also other businesses are looking at as well, actually, can we make, instead of a cost center from the supply chain and the logistics processes, can we actually create value?
Exactly. You're kicking in an open door, because that's really the business proposition that we're going out, like differentiating the prices via multi-carrier setup based on the service that you're applying. So if you want an express parcel, you can price that at price point A. If you want a low value Pluto or parcel shop parcel, that's a different story. And then differentiate it based on the time of the year, the product, the value, the weight, like all of these different variables, which is tied to the parcel and the journey of the parcel. That's really where we want to give the empowerment back to our clients to play around with it, give it to marketing. Are we able to move from a strictly cost center in logistics to actually optimize the profits a bit, even that our clients are happy and they're still converting into the products which is applied?
Makes sense. I can see that there's quite some questions, and we even have some questions with names. Do those people want to stand up? Do I call on them, or I'll ask it like this. To understand correctly, customs is often a big challenge for e-commerce, so Homerunner can simplify this?
Yes.
Tell us more.
What we do is a parcel. We connect to the, let's say, the master data centers, whether it's the web shop, it's the VMS, or it's the ERP. And then, as mentioned, we connect it in the shipment. So you have an order. That's, let's say, the mother. Then attached to that order is products. So we know exactly the tariff numbers, the weight, the value, country of origin, etc., because we do a pull once we create the label or the shipment with all of these requirements attached. And then what we do is that we do a cleanse prior to either doing single item customs for UK or worldwide shipments, or we can actually facilitate consolidated invoice to the markets which is supplied. And then we do a check. If there's a required field missing, then it would bounce off with an error code directly there, so you actually have time to manually handle that. And that's why we really want to amplify the experience and make it easier to do cross-border, simplified.
So just from my understanding, let's say we're shipping into Switzerland,
Yeah.
the country where I grew up a while ago, then all of that, having to drive across the border to pick up my parcel just so I can get a German delivery, that would not be necessary, because as a company, you would already facilitate that cross-border, coding and all the VAT coding and HS codes and so on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course, you need to have a data foundation, otherwise this is not doable. That's if you need to have a Swiss import, you need to have some registrations and you need to have the data on the products. If you have that, great. Then we can start to align the process and then do automized procedures to make it go easily in.
Straightforward, straight enough.
Yeah.
I saw that we had one more audience question. Thomas is asking, you guys are doing a great job and your development is moving fast. Aren't you afraid that it's too difficult for local parcel operators to follow your pace?
Thomas, whether you are, very good question, and you're absolutely right. Actually, we have some issues there because we have a requirement in terms of dancing together. You need to have APIs, otherwise there's a bad fit. I won't say the provider's name, but they utilized a EDI service, and that wasn't really working for us. It was too slow paced. We didn't get the pull data correctly and efficiently enough. So what we do is that we actually converted their own EDI service into API service for us. Then it worked. So we are trying to push the modernization of the IT stacks of the shipping providers. Because as mentioned with the e-commerce stores or the clients and the partners, they should focus on what they're really, really good at. And shipping providers, their main task is delivering parcels, delivering a good service out to the end consumer. So a lot of them are stuck in old legacy data and coding, which makes it difficult for them to actually evolve into what we are, because we are agnostic. We're trying to build on our solution and amplify their data.
It's an interesting point because, of course, data is the foundation for so many things. And I think that a lot of retailers, I've been able to look into the behind the scenes, data is the stop, basically. We have lots of data, but nobody connects it and nobody knows how to connect it. So how would you go about that? How would you start?
Low hanging fruit. Look at your operations, saying where are the biggest pains? Is it customer service? Then we maybe need to look at aligning the different data points, for example, in the tracking, to be a bit more proactive. It could also be in the claim handling. There's many different points as well for the operations. That's difficult to say how and why the different perspectives are. I just had a good call here yesterday, or a meeting here yesterday, with the client saying, we want to add more providers into a platform, but the maintainment and the integration into the different providers, especially if they're cross-border, if they have multiple countries going into, that's super difficult for them, and they have bigger and better tasks to actually accomplish internally. And that's really where, as mentioned from start, we want to act as the extended arm for our clients. As mentioned, we don't charge any consultancy, startup, etc. But it's a huge investment for us, and we have very long ROI. So that's why it's not customers for us, it's really partnerships. Because, as mentioned, if you have your own agreement or our agreement, it doesn't really make any sense. We want to put you in the best possible place. And that's also connecting the data, because, as mentioned, for the competition and the prices, etc. Prior, that's also where we need to look at data. And we take all the terminal scans, the weight, length, width, etc. And we try to actually work data-based with our providers to get best possible prices. If we get best possible prices, our partners, they're happy, buy more, expand more, upgoing cycle.
And maybe looking a little bit ahead. So how could retailers especially, but organizations in general prepare for the future of supply chains, the future that comes with new technologies in this ever-changing and rapidly changing world?
That's a very difficult question because it's super market differentiated, and especially Amazon has set the bar super high in terms of Amazon Prime, same day, small hourly window of deliveries. That works in some markets. Where I'm from in Denmark, we also have same day deliveries. It's also spread across all of Scandinavia. But if you see the expectation level, for example, in UK, in France, and Germany, it's very difficult and it's very differentiated in terms of what, how, and why. But I think, as we talked about yesterday, that shipping providers, they are going to more of a consolidation in the market, both based on eco-friendly deliveries. Maybe it could take a longer time. Maybe you can actually say, okay, I don't need my parcel. It's Monday today. Maybe I don't need it on a Tuesday. Maybe I don't need it on the same day, but I can get a lower price having delivered on a Thursday, on a Friday, to actually consolidate the shipments out more, so you can actually lower the carbon footprint. So I think that thinking smarter in terms of the deliveries, the data, in terms of the whole shipping industry, I think that's going to carry it forward.
And what do you think is Homerunner's, or could be Homerunner's, role in that transition also?
We're quite agnostic. What we're trying to do actually is do the forecast in terms of shipping provider A. We forecast 15,000 parcels for you today in this direction, in these postal codes, so you can actually consolidate these outgoing parcels a lot more and be efficient in your logistical chain. So we want to be in the background. We don't want to disturb too much, but we actually, with our strategic partners, just want to give them the empowerment to be better at what they're doing and their core tasks.
Last question to wrap it up.
Yeah.
What's the dream? So how would you see the future of this logistics industry developing to, considering, the drive for sustainability, considering this borderless world that we're all wishing for? What is your dream landscape, let's say?
Whew, that's difficult to take over the world with Homer. No, what we actually the dream would be to have it as simplified as everybody, whether it's our solution or others, can actually gain the benefits, remove the manual, tedious work that is done every day. Just as Thomas mentioned with the commercial invoices, like we have several of our partners who's manually sitting and typing all commercial invoices on a daily basis. Nobody is happy doing that. So it's actually bringing in the enjoyment and what makes you feel like you're adding value to whatever you're doing, amplifying that experience. That's really what I'm trying to do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in this very last breakout session of the day. If you have any more questions for Matthias, find him. He's quite tall. I think you'll find him. Thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. And then I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.